zijn hier met Ed Strong, maar we kennen hem als Lace Strong en we zijn hier met Jan Dekker. Ja, ik mocht geen meneer Dekker zeggen.
Nee,
We're talking about stories and friends. Why is it important to keep writing stories about Dutch basketball?
because it was such a great time. You know, we played at a very high level. I had to guard this guy, Lace, next to me, and really respected him. And Marcel Welch, my teammate, had to guard the opposite guard of
That's
the
the
other team,
Rotterdam days.
And that was in the Rotterdam days. And basketball became better in the Netherlands in those years because players like Lace came to our country, and Dutch Americans also came to the Netherlands. And therefore we became better and better, and played European Cup level at a very high level, European Cup finals. And just because we were practicing with better players. And that's really what I remember as being, they became friends, you know. I played a game here a couple of months ago, and I wanted to call Lace Strong because I played with Mario Bennis, and Mario Bennis had his phone number because they do a basketball camp together. So I talked to Lace over the phone. We stay friends for all those years because we battled at such a high level. We battled championships together. And we practiced together when I lived in Delft and he lived in Delft. I studied at the university over there, TU Delft. And we practiced together quite a bit. We just talked about it in a very small gym in Delft, one-on-one, so that I could become better.
I need to know more about that. Lace Strong, do you remember anything about those battles against Jan Dekker?
You know,
You're a bigger guy.
That was much unexpected that when we got those two little guards, you have to figure out which one you're going to guard. So they say, boy, that little black guard, he looks very quick. I better take Jan. So I had Jan, and what happened? He was the shooter, and I had the wrong guy. So it was just one of those things. One of the unique things about our relationship is that I'm free in the afternoon, so the sport hall allowed me to come into the sport hall in the afternoon at lunchtime. He would come over, running over in his lunch pause just to be able to shoot for 45 minutes. He would take his clothes with him, change really fast, and he would be shooting at his lunch. And he was as good a shooter as I was, so that was a real pleasure. I couldn't imagine that he would do it one time, but like it was every Tuesday, he was there. So that was very nice.
So you came to Holland as a professional basketball player, am I right? That was your reason for coming, or how?
You know, I came because what happened, I had a very bad Achilles injury, and the pros and I came in conflict with that. But when I graduated from school, I was asked to play for the Dallas Cowboys, the football, simply because they knew I was a physical player, and that right there was like, what is this mess? And being drafted very late by Philadelphia didn't help me. I didn't get really involved into the pros until after I played here. So after I played here, Red Auerbach he's the head coach he's the manager from the Celtics. He came to me one day and said, I decided you're going to be a Celtic. So that was one of the, I think there are a lot of things have happened in my life. That has to be one of the greatest moments of my life. And then, of course, Kevin Lockery asked me, Lace, you got to come down and play with Julius at
Philly.
At that time it was
the ABA?
New Jersey.
Yeah, ABA.
New Jersey. So that's the only tryout I've really had, is to be at New Jersey with them. And they thought that I was their best player at that moment but they had signed so many players that they couldn't do that. So I had a chance to come back to Europe.
So if I understand correctly, you developed your career as a pro in the Netherlands, and because of that, there was interest from the States again.
Yes. One of the things that helped me a whole lot is that the people you play with. So I play with some unbelievable people. I'm the MVP to a tournament called that thing at West 4th Street, that little court. I'm the MVP. And that year is the year when everything asked me. And also to playing in the Rucker tournament. That
New York,
yeah. So sometimes in those games you don't have to think, you have to play. And that's the whole thing, you know, you have to play. I'm coming from St. Peter's, and that is nothing but, on our uniforms it says run, baby, run. And we have 4 games a year at Madison Square Garden. So for me, coming from a little bitty town like that, it's not that you get into the pros, but can you imagine someone asking me to be a pro? That was kind of like unbelievable. We have a summer camp called Cutcher Sports Academy, and at the academy we see all the pros. They're there, and all my scholarships are a result of me being there. You know, I can't tell you more than that. Playing with Julius, being recruited with Julius is unbelievable. But being around Walt Frazier, playing him one-on-one, Ralph Simpson one-on-one, it's just, my life is a real good life. And I can't imagine it. I just wanted to play basketball. Playing the pros, I don't know anything about it. That they should ask me should be, I don't know, something special.
Let's go back briefly to Jan Dekker. Mr. Dekker, it was mentioned in the beautiful presentation, the glory days of Den Bosch with Rinus de Jong. You were playing, then you were coaching, the Europe success, Tom Boot, Jos Kuipers, all those guys. How do you look back on your period in Den Bosch, in this beautiful, well, you played in another arena before.
Yeah, we played in the Vinkerkamp before, but we helped, actually Akkerboom, Kropman and myself helped designing this building.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had asked us with the architect to give some tips about the locker room and about the stands, you know. So, yeah, it was a great time. Fantastic basketball. I mean, if you make it into the European Cup and get into the European Cup finals, then you play good basketball, you know. And the level of basketball was good, and I already mentioned that. I also need to say, to get back to what Lace just told, he helped also Dutch players, one of my players in my coaching career, Raymond Botse, to get to St. Peter's. And Raymond, who lives now in the United States, in the New Jersey area, talks with a lot of excitement about it. I talk to Raymond over the phone every now and then. And so the American players not only made us better, but also they took care of that some of our guys could go to the United States and play a year or two or sometimes 4 years in colleges.
Mr. Dekker, you live in the United States for a long time now already. You're still a teacher, or
I'm retired.
You're retired now?
Yeah.
Do you still follow the Dutch league a bit, or maybe Den Bosch or the national team?
From a distance, you know, I have the Instagram account of Heroes Den Bosch, so I see what they do, and every now and then I go to YouTube and watch their games. But I watch a lot of American basketball, of course. I love the NBA. I love the well-coached teams like the Golden State Warriors and even the San Antonio Spurs. You know, they are well-coached. So I like to watch those teams. But I also like to watch college. College basketball is really good. We have several real good Dutch players like Jesse Edwards in Syracuse. And his brother played in Colorado, where I live now. So Kai Edwards, and I went to his games at the University of Northern Colorado in Greeley. It's not too far away from me. So I've talked to Kai Edwards a couple times, and he's now playing pro in Spain, I believe.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's good. It's a family, right?
It's still in your blood.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's in your DNA, let me tell you. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you don't lose that. Oh, yeah.
You triggered me just, and then we'll run up. You mentioned San Antonio Spurs.
Yes.
That game was mentioned. There was a game.
Yeah,
it was in the Mouthsport probably.
Yeah, that was my final. San
Antonio Spurs against Nashua and Bosch. That was your retirement game, as it were.
Was my retirement game.
What do you remember from that night?
I was injured, so I couldn't play in that game, which I really dread, of course.
Yes.
But what they did was they put me behind a table, and I was announcing. They had a microphone in front of me, and in my own last game, I had a real bad or groin injury. I can't even remember. I was announcing that game for the crowd. It was pretty busy in the gym.
Of course.
And indeed, they had brought me in a box, in a cardboard box, with a television, because that was my present after so many years of playing. I was donated television, but I was in the box. The television was outside the box. It was just fun for the crowd, you know.
That was George Gervin.
And Gervin made the last basket. Iceman,
yeah.
We both respect George, I guess.
Oh, man.
He could play. He could shoot.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Let's go to Lace Strong. Lace, you not only have, like Mr. Dekker just mentioned, you made Dutch players better. As it were, you were kind of like a coach to them, if I understand correctly. You helped them connect with colleges in the US. But I think you did a lot for Dutch basketball after your playing days were over. Can you talk about that?
You know, one of the commitments that I had to make was a commitment to youth. I think that Ronald Wolf said it best. The reason why the Tribune will not be filled is because the Americans did not go out and meet the public. That means go out and teach at those schools and give them the cards. For me, when I first came to Holland, I would go take a poster and go to all the hairdressers and and they thought I was an idiot. And who was that? And then they'd see it in the newspapers, and then they'd say, hey, that was a guy. And then you come the next week. But a commitment to youth. Anybody who has a youth problem, I want to solve it. So I was in Irk every year because those guys, they had a basket set up in a fish array. You know? There I was.
You're doing clinics?
Clinics.
Yeah.
And they said he has to come back. So youth is the most important thing for me, and I've coached 1 billion youth teams. I think the beauty and the grace of it is what he said. The relationships that you build up in it are for life, because you're not talking about basketball as an entity. You're talking about how you function in a society, in a group, and that's the most important thing. Okay, maybe you're not the star here, but you're here. You're a part of it. One of the things that I learned is that I coached women for a long time, and the women were more apt to want to be a team as compared to the boys. And that's one of the things you can really make a good team on that.
Exactly.
But I'm so pleased because I've had so many people think I can coach, of course, but I've had so many good players. I really mean it. Players that really want to really do what they, and also too, it's how you treat people.
Yes.
If you treat people good, it'll come back to you.
It will come back to you and to the team.
Yeah, and I think that has been my life. I've had so many good people around me, and the antecedent had to be the basketball, really.
It's a blessing for all of us guys to have you here, to be able to talk to you as parts of Dutch basketball history. Thanks so much for your time. And you have a great reunion here with all your friends. Please enjoy that and all the best.